Hey everyone! Today I'm excited to introduce a thought-provoking new book that dives deep into one of the most fascinating questions in world spirituality. It's called Nirvana Without a Creator, and it explores whether Buddhism is truly an atheistic religion or if it goes beyond the traditional labels of belief and disbelief. This book takes you on a journey through ancient teachings, modern interpretations, and the rich philosophical world of Buddhism. It's perfect for anyone curious about the nature of the divine, the mind, and what it really means to awaken. So let's dive into the introduction and see what this journey is all about. The introduction, Nirvana Without a Creator. The introduction to Nirvana Without a Creator lays a compelling foundation for a profound and comprehensive inquiry into the nature of Buddhism and its relationship with the concept of divinity. The author begins by addressing one of the most commonly posed questions about Buddhism. Is it an atheistic religion? This question serves as a launching point to invite readers into a deeper reflection, encouraging them to move beyond simplistic binary categories of theism and atheism that often dominate Western religious discourse. Instead, the book suggests a more nuanced framework for understanding Buddhism's spiritual and philosophical essence. The narrative then shifts focus to the early teachings of the historical Buddha, particularly emphasizing his reluctance to engage in speculative metaphysics. Questions about the origin of the universe, the nature of the soul, or the existence of a supreme being. Rather than provide conclusive doctrinal answers to these questions, the Buddha emphasized a practical path aimed at relieving suffering and achieving liberation. The introduction makes it clear that the absence of a creator god in Buddhism is not a militant rejection, but a deliberate redirection of attention toward inner transformation and experiential wisdom. Central to this discussion is the Buddha's approach to suffering, craving, and the human condition. The introduction explores how traditional Buddhist cosmology includes gods, devas, and supernatural realms, yet places them within the impermanent cycle of samsara. These divine beings are not omnipotent creators, but rather part of a symbolic and psychological landscape that reflects the mind's capacities and delusions. In this way, the divine in Buddhism becomes less a figure to be worshipped and more a metaphor to be understood and transformed. The introduction also brings attention to the symbolic richness of Buddhist traditions, which use imagery, ritual, and mythology not as ends in themselves, but as tools for awakening. Whether it is the wrathful deities of Tibetan Buddhism or the compassionate bodhisattvas of Mahayana thought, these figures are presented not as literal gods, but as expressions of awakened states of consciousness. The text emphasizes that the divine in Buddhism is deeply inward-looking, pointing practitioners toward mindfulness, ethical conduct, and mental clarity. A particularly important element in the introduction is the book's engagement with both classical sources and contemporary interpretations. By referencing key suttas, such as the Tevijja Sutta, and drawing from modern secular thinkers and Buddhist reformers, the author bridges the gap between ancient doctrine and modern spirituality. The book positions itself as both a scholarly and experiential guide for those seeking to understand Buddhism outside traditional religious frameworks, including those who approach it through psychology, neuroscience, or existential philosophy. The introduction ultimately establishes the book as a journey, not toward dogmatic conclusions, but toward intellectual and spiritual clarity. It invites readers of all backgrounds, whether practicing Buddhists, spiritual seekers, or thoughtful skeptics, to explore a tradition that embraces ambiguity and values direct experience over rigid belief. The tone is conversational yet deeply insightful, offering readers a sense of being guided rather than preached to. In reframing Buddhism, not as a faith with fixed theological claims, but as a dynamic, evolving process of awakening, the introduction sets the stage for the chapters that follow. It encourages an open-minded, investigative approach to topics such as karma, rebirth, cosmology, meditation, and the psychological dimensions of religious life. Above all, it makes clear that the book will serve not as a dogmatic statement, but as a rich, thought-provoking companion in the reader's personal search for meaning and freedom. Thanks so much for listening. If the message in this book resonates with you, don't forget to share it, leave a comment, and check out the full title. Until next time, take care and stay curious.